The next episode of The Commercial Break starts now.
Yeah, boy!
Oh, yeah, cats and kittens. Welcome back to The Commercial Break. I'm Bryan Green. This is my dear friend and the co-host of this show, Chris and Joy Hoadley. Best to you, Chris.
Best to you, Bryan.
And best to you out there in the podcast universe. How the hell are you? Thanks for joining us. It's a TCB Infomercial Tuesday with Mr. Noel Miller. Actor, comedian, director, viral video superstar, podcaster, podcast network owner. Everything. He does it all. He's a man of many talents. Content creator, I think, is probably the best way to lay it down. And he's going to be joining us here in just a few minutes. He's really funny. I've been digging into Noel Miller's long list of content creations. And I got to say, he's like naturally funny. You know, he's like one of those guys who just has this natural way about him that's funny. He's very laid back. I think you're going to like Noel Miller if you are not aware of him, but probably many of you are because he has 4.5 million people following him on the collective social medias, and we have 4.5 people following us on our... I think one of them is a bot, but I keep them on there because I don't want to bring that count down by 25%. Oh, man, we have been talking about this and talking about this and talking about this for years on this show. How we can have X amount of people listening to The Commercial Break every single day and month and every episode that we put out, and then only have X amount of people following us. I think it has to do with the fact that we just put out clips of the show, and I think people are kind of like,
we're going to have to bite the bullet.
We're going to have to bite the bullet. Yeah, maybe we can get some tips from Noel because he seems to be good at getting out there and doing it. But he's really creative. He does like parody music, all kind of stuff. So we'll talk to Noel about that. NoelMillerLive.com, I believe, is where you can go and buy tickets to his upcoming tour. He's got like 20 cities on there. I think if you live in a place, he will be near that place. So go on the map and find your place, and then find a place that's close there. That's right. So we'll talk to him in just a couple of minutes. But I wanted to know if you had heard about the brand new sensation that's rocking the internet right now, Krissy, mewing. Do you know what a mewing is?
Mewing. I've heard of mewing.
It's
like a supercomputer.
And if... well, bam! Mew, mew. Not meow, 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 meow. Mewing, not a supercomputer.
The mewing is when you do this, right?
That's right! With your tongue.
Yeah.
It's a thing you do with your tongue and rest it on the back of your... and then you get your cheekbones and you raise your head. Yeah, to chisel and make you look more like a duck than you already look like.
Yeah.
So Astrid texted me the other day and she goes, you got to talk about mewing on the show because it's like really hip and cool and all the kids are talking about it. And I'm like, what the fuck is mewing? I had heard it. Do you remember that girl who fell in love with Morgan Wallen? Because Morgan Wallen's mom started DMing her.
Yes.
And it turned out, go figure, in the least surprising thing that's happened in 2025, Morgan Wallen's mom was not DMing her, but she gave Morgan Wallen's mom $18,000 worth of Gold Dot gift cards. She was talking about mewing, and I thought it had something to do with puckering your lips and making your chin stand out or something.
Well, you were close.
But there was a chiropractor that I watched a video, and the chiropractor was explaining that mewing really is a thing, and it really can, in some people, improve the jawline, the turkey neck, and the general structure of the bottom half of your face. And Krissy and I were talking about this. Eventually, we're all getting gobblers, guys. The gobblers are coming for everybody, no matter how skinny you are, no matter how many fit you are, you're getting a gobbler. And a gobbler is that little turkey thing that hangs down on your neck. It's coming. People try and avoid it. They do all kind of things to get out of it. The plastic surgery, I think, is one of the things that can kind of take care of it.
Yeah, it does.
But so I'm watching this video on mewing at Starbucks. And then I look around. And there's 50 people at the Starbucks. And so as I'm watching this video on mewing, and the chiropractor is explaining that he can tell when people are mewing just based on their posture and the way that they hold their mouth when they're not talking. And he was giving an example. Here's what I see when I see people who are mewing as a thing. And here's what I see people who have not mewed and are a little bit older and they get that turkey. Yeah, they're not mewing. Anti-mewing and mewing. No mew, mew plus, right? Okay, all right. So I start looking around and I'm like, let me see if this guy's onto something here. Let me see if I can figure it out. And no shit, Krissy, 4 or 5 tables have older folks, some of them maybe at their advanced ages, 60, 70 years old, gobblers, face slouching down, holding their mouth breathers, right? Mewers, face up, chin up, sturdy jawline. I saw one guy, you could crack walnuts on that jaw. His jaw was so fucking chiseled. You could see every muscle rippling in his jaw. And I thought to myself, I don't want a blowjob from that guy because he's got teeth that are strong. But you could tell.
Well, I think it does kind of mess up your teeth, though, is what I read.
So the chiropractor was saying that some people do not have the physical natural structure to mew because you have to hold your tongue right between, like he explained it, open your mouth, take your tongue, stick it to the top, stick it to right where your teeth meet the top of your mouth.
Yeah.
If your jaw moves when you do that, you are tongue-tied. The official term for it, tongue-tied. That means your tongue is tied to your bottom of your mouth, and the only way to fix it is getting laser surgery. I can do it without moving my jaw. Can you do it without moving your jaw? Open your mouth. Stick your tongue at the top of your mouth. Yeah, you did it without moving your jaw. Okay.
Yeah. So I'm a mewer?
You can mew.
I can mew?
You can mew. Now, but you have to do this all the time. Every time your mouth is closed and you're resting, you have to stick your tongue right there. And if your tongue overlaps your teeth when you do that, if your tongue is bigger than your teeth and the semicircle of your mouth, you're out. You can't do mewing because if you do mewing, you can cause yourself a whole litany of health problems, according to the chiropractor. Mine fits snugly in there.
The chiropractor.
Yeah. So I can mew. So here's my promise to the commercial break and to our budding Instagram account with almost 7,000 people. And then we got Noel Miller. It's got 80 million people in there. I'm going to mew for a month. I'm going to mew. And we're going to see if it changes the physical structure of my jaw.
Got to take a before and after shot.
Oh, I'm going to take lots of before and afters. You know that speaking of before and after, when Astrid and I first got together, I felt like I could probably lose a few pounds. So I took a couple of screenshots. I took a couple of shots in the mirror of myself, in underwear, just so I could before and after it, as was the trend back then. Okay. Fast forward a couple of years later, and iPhone now has this thing where you can make your screensaver a picture.
Yes.
And it can rotate in your photo album.
Right.
So I do this neat little trick because now I got children and I figure, hey, listen, I have a couple happy photographs of my children when I open up my phone.
Yeah.
7,000 times a day might make me a little less stressed. Well, one day those photos popped up and Astrid was like, who the fuck are you sending those photos to? And I'm like, Fat Bryan? Who am I sending Fat Bryan photos to? I go, no, I swear to God, I took these like right when we first started dating.
Look at the timestamp.
Yeah, look at the timestamp. There is no timestamp. Anyway, I'll take some before and afters. We'll mew it out and we'll see.
We'll mew.
We'll mew. I'll mew. I'll see if it does anything. And we'll all be the judge. We'll all decide. When Bryan mewed, did it change the facial did it change his facial structure?
Yeah.
Most people don't like looking at my face, but for this, I'm gonna ask you just to dart your eyes over once. A lot of people say that they watch for Krissy. You can dart your eyes over once or twice for this one. All right, Mr. Noel Miller. We're super excited about this one. Like I said, viral sensation, started on Vine, went over to YouTube.
I loved Vine.
He's got the Tiny Meat Gang. He's got a podcast network. He's got his own podcast. He's got his own YouTube channel. The guy is a content creator, and he's got a web of content out there, and a lot of it is very funny, some of it very offbeat, and, I think the sensibilities of the sense of humor are very much the same. He just happens to be funny when he does his. We are desperately grasping at straws. So hopefully we'll get a few laughs.
I'm excited to talk to
from Noel. And so let's do this. Why don't we take a break and then through the magic of telepodcasting, when we get back, Mr. Noel Miller. Do you or don't you agree, Krissy?
I agree, and I'm sprinkling the
magic
fairy dust.
Krissy is sprinkling the magic Miller dust all over the studio. We will be back. And Noel's here with us now. Thanks for joining us. We really appreciate it.
Hello.
Yes. Hello.
Okay. How are you sleeping?
I am sleeping okay. You know,
Noel's a brand new dad, so I mean, not brand new, but new. It's
I'm
to
new.
me,
6
yeah,
months is new.
Yeah,
6
it's
months
new.
is new.
Yeah,
Yeah.
You're about to
Krissy,
get
do you have
into it.
children? I didn't ask.
I do not have. No, I have 2 stepchildren, but they were already past the 6-month stage.
Hey,
Yeah, they were past the 18th stage.
hey,
They were-
They were
hey.
7 and 10. They were 7 and 10.
That's fair enough. Fair enough.
Listen, for a long time, I entertained adopting because, you know, at that point, they're past, you know, you could get them
Yeah.
Yeah.
at 10.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
You know, you can get, like, it's like adopting a dog. You get them, not that children are dogs, but
No. Yeah.
you get them when they learn how to, you know,
Pee and poop.
Piss and shit. Can I say
piss and
that?
shit. Yeah, of course you can.
Yes, yes.
Whatever the hell you want.
Exactly.
Explicit warning on
They're
every
formed.
episode.
They're formed.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're formed.
Yeah.
They're hatched. They're not
Yes.
little. They're not little
Yeah.
chicklets. They're hatched. They know how to do it. But you know the old adage is small children, small problems. Big children, big problems.
Well,
yes, of course. Of
Yeah.
course.
So she has 2 girls that she adopts by marriage, and
Yeah,
then
and
right
that's-
into puberty, which has got to be a nightmare.
I think that's great because Krissy is just showing up to the franchise as a new head coach. You know,
That's right.
she's
I stepped
you know,
in.
and
True.
you know,
I took it all.
listen.
I took it all on, including the ex.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
She's the consultant, new head coach. She's here to clean up the organization.
Yep, that's right.
You know,
No,
get their
she
star
makes it
players on
shape.
track.
Yeah, she's more like the mascot, like the zany mascot that you can't get rid of.
With a martini.
Yeah, with a martini and a Xanax. That's right.
Hey, I'm your cool wine mom head coach.
That's
How's
right.
that?
Exactly.
Hey, listen.
I'm a cool aunt and a cool stepmom.
It takes all
Yeah.
kinds. And
Sweet.
being parent is like, I'm sure it had to have changed everything because it did for me. Like I found that not only am I raising the kids are raising me, so to speak.
Oh yeah.
If I had kids, I often say this, if I had kids in my 20s, like when most of my friends had their kids, they would have not been, those kids would have not been with me. DFAX would have had them for sure. For sure. But they raised me. Like I got a little more sober. I got a little more pragmatic. I got a little more level-headed. I can't live paycheck to paycheck anymore so often. I got to try and
That's
figure
good.
this
Let's start a
out.
podcast.
Let's start
Yeah.
a podcast because that's where all the money's at.
Yeah.
Did you feel that way when you had your kid? Did you have that same kind of awakening that I did? Just holy shit, it's not just about me anymore.
Yeah. I mean, every day, I'm like, wow, I could be out playing billiards right now, but
Yeah.
I'm here with you, buddy. No, it definitely changed everything. I think it gave me it is a funny thing. Like, I think I needed a child to accomplish a certain amount of maturity that other people reach on their own.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, and
I'm with you on that. That's a good way.
it's a very extreme way of growing as a person.
Yes.
Being responsible for something that can't even walk, but it's been great. Like I love every minute of it, even the tough moments so far. Because it does teach you a lot about yourself. It's,
Okay, so
it's
let me
a
ask
fun
you
ride.
this. Scariest moment so far with your child? Like, let me give you an example. So I remember, at least so far with my children, scariest moment, hands down, was the time my son walked out of the closet with a cherry pit in his throat that he couldn't get out, but he was already discolored when he walked out of the closet. Like he had already been in the
Remember that,
closet
yeah.
choking, and we didn't know because we were standing, he was in the pantry, so we didn't know.
Wow.
So I will never forget that moment. When I talk about it now, it still makes me want to like cry, like a fear cry. Like, oh my God, I almost just lost my child. That was the
Yeah.
scariest moment. Luckily, brain kicked in, told me, remember the basics, do the thing, and it all worked out. But any like holy shit moments with your kids so far?
Well, sorry, I'm just just thinking about that moment, and
Yeah,
That's,
it gives you chills, huh?
yeah, but I mean, you could sell that scene to any like horror film producer. You know, I mean, what a like. I'm just imagining the creepy, and then here comes this blue baby.
Yeah, just waddling out of the pantry.
Yeah.
And he's like, and that's what he's doing. That's exactly it. And then what if your hands are tied behind your back or something? You can't do anything about it. You just got to sit. Well, that's a little dark.
God,
but anyway,
Bryan.
I think, we haven't had any of those yet. I'm also a freak, so I conjure up some of those fears. Like my hand went near the trash can and then I just touched his hand. And now is he, munching on whatever.
Right.
And, it's, I freak myself out often. So, I'm hopefully won't experience any of that just yet.
Yeah.
We do have the Heimlich tools.
Yes.
We got the pump and all that. So God forbid.
That's
jokes on anything. But no super scary moments as of yet. He's very chill. We keep him in the dark. We don't let him outside. So that's how we avoid danger.
That's what I do with my daughters.
Yeah.
That's what I do with my daughters. Yeah. You want a real joke? Have daughters. Have beautiful daughters.
Yes.
That's when God says, I'm getting back at all. I'm getting you back for everything. Everything has a way of coming back around. And now you're going to have to watch Brian Green show up to your front door and take your daughter out on a date. And I'm going to go, locked in the basement. Nope, locked in the basement.
I see.
That's how it rolls.
Yeah.
Is he crawling yet?
His mind is definitely ahead of his body. So
Yeah.
also it's like the biggest part of his body. But
The heads are big with them. Yeah.
physically. No, but I mean statistically his brain his head is bigger.
Yeah.
The rest of his body is to catch up to his head. But he is crawling already. He's 6 months and that kid he already understands how to like use his body to get over the top of the crib. He's like a little he's like a little toy almost. Like you just put him on his back and he flips over and he gets going. You put him on his back again and he flips over again. So he will be running, I think, sooner than most. He already tries to walk.
Oh man, this is such a great time. These
Yeah.
are the moments.
Such a cute
These are the
age.
moments. We just take mental images because these are the moments. Now my youngest is 2, and when I see young kids like 6 months, 5 months, 9 months old, I go for like a brief second. I go, oh, I miss that. I wish I could have that one more time, and then I smack myself from the inside and go, what the fuck are you thinking? I don't have another goddamn kid. No more fucking kids. No more fucking dogs. Do you guys have pets around the house?
We do. We got a little mixed breed Chihuahua. He's he wasn't he's like a Chiweenie, we think.
That's a tweenie. My
He's a
parents
tweenie.
had one.
Yeah.
So cute. Yeah.
Yeah, he's adorable little guy. He the baby showed up and baby's getting a lot of attention, so he wasn't too stoked about that, but
Right.
he's coming around. So.
It'll be okay. Yeah, the small dogs, they have a problem with it. I got a Yorkie, and it took a good 3 or 4 months. But once something kicked in, like this thing ain't going away. I better play nice with it. The only reason that Yorkie is still around the house is because she's very good with the children. Like she protects them, she plays with them. They pull her ears and drag her around by the tail. Yeah, she eats their crackers. But this has given you, I'm sure this has given you, we were just talking before you came on, this has given you a bunch of like breathing new life into material that then you can use on stage. This is...
Yeah, definitely. I talk about being a father, but I don't, I mean, my kid is so brand new, but I think I kind of I have a pretty disconnected way of looking at the world. So my material isn't really like, my kid is special. In fact, I would say it's the opposite. But and make no mistake, I love my son.
I'm with you on this. Yeah.
I think I don't speak about being a father maybe the same way others would, because being a father just makes me think very meta about like how humans came to be what they are, and I think about like the evolution of what a father is, and weirdly it like makes me think of like certain books I've read and how there's this like opinion that some people have about how fatherhood changed as like, I guess this is like a really deep thing, but like as capitalism grew, and fathers began to work more and more what took place of like fatherhood and where people get their sort of adult messaging from. And there are people who say like, in a weird way, there are certain adolescents where the messaging maybe from fathers where it's like, do your best and this and that, started to be less from their father and be more in the form of like posters in a school, and like, sort of those phrases being echoed by teachers and other adults, and sometimes positive, sometimes negative. But yeah, so it makes me think about that stuff. So by the time I get down to like, granted, the set is not this meta.
Right.
You know, by the time I get to writing, like I think one of my favorite bits right now is the birthing process surprised me because I was standing in the delivery room and I was thinking, this should smell worse. You know,
That's something to consider.
Yeah.
You know, I gotta tell you, Noel, this is what you just said. I think I want to just like step back just for 1 second. I think I agree with you about something about fatherhood. I don't look at my children in a way that some people really feel like very singular about their children, and their children are they almost like the world was blessed because they had children, and now here the kingdom comes. And I look at it more like this is evolution, baby, right? I like this is evolution, baby, and I look at these things a little less precious, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, my children are precious, don't get me wrong, and I think they're precious and I love them, and in my eyes they're precious, but I also understand this is just a cog in the wheel, and here we go, and I got to do my best to kind of put the guardrails and get them through their childhood. But the one thing that you just said that was weird is I also thought the exact same
About
thing.
the smell.
Yes, during my wife's natural birth. She had a natural birth that was rough, so then she had 2 C-sections. And in all 3 occasions, I thought, where are the smells that should come with opening up a body like this? Where are where I'm just not getting that. Thankfully, I'm not getting that.
Did
but
you
I
have
thought
a mask on?
I had a mask on. I thought we would all go in like Silence of the Lambs and put some weird stuff under our nose, like some menthol under our nose. It didn't happen, but I didn't smell anything either. Yeah,
I had no mask. I was raw. I was just sitting there holding the leg.
yeah,
Holding a leg.
You were holding the
Holding
leg.
the leg.
Oh, you were right in there, huh?
Nice.
Yeah, I was in there. I was participating in the birth.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, in there, baby.
The doctor asked me. She said, "Do you want to take a look?" And I looked in my wife's eyes. And Astrid's eyes, she almost begged me through those eyeballs
Just don't-
not to
don't
do
look.
that. But curiosity killed the cat. And I looked and I thought, wow. I mean, I knew what to look for. I'd seen birthing videos before. I knew what I would see, but I wasn't really prepared for it. But listen, it was beautiful. It's birth. That's it.
Yeah.
It's all natural.
life.
Yeah. What else have you got? Do you enjoy being out on the road? So, you know, those who don't know Noel, we have talked about him in the intro here, but you're really kind of like you started on Vine, right?
I did, yes. I
The
started.
short-lived
Vine.
Twitter
I loved Vine.
video platform.
Yeah, I joined Vine pretty late. Basically, I got into Vine because simultaneously I was working as a web developer, just like, you know, writing code for weird web apps and stuff.
Code Monkey,
and,
yeah.
Yeah, and one of my coworkers, he was a longtime stand-up comedian, and he just kind of said like, "Hey, you have like a stand-up comics vibe. Have you ever thought about doing stand-up?" I said, "Yeah, you know, but I don't even know how to get started in that." And he goes, "Well, why don't you come see me at a show?" Fast forward, the show is actually an open mic, and he threw me off a cliff. So he was just like, he just threw me
wow.
up, and
What a friend.
yeah.
What a guy.
And it was honestly, it was a great way to.
It was the best thing that ever happened to you. Yeah.
Yeah, break me into it. So I was doing stand up for a bit, and then I got into Vine as like my thought was there's all these popular people on Vine, and I thought, oh, maybe if I gain a following online, maybe I can start to get around because in LA it's just impossible to get stage time. So I thought like maybe this could be a bargaining chips that a club like might want to help me develop, where it's like, all right, you know, come do the show and you'll get 5 minutes on the show, you know, or you get a 7-minute set.
A little leverage. You figured if you have a community of people that enjoy your comedy online, then you have some leverage inside the clubs.
Yeah, and I legitimately was thinking like, okay, if I have X many thousand followers, maybe that gets me an extra 10 tickets sold, and then that's incentive for the club, you know, whatever. And little did I know that was going to become the model way later.
Right.
But,
That's what I'm just thinking this while you're saying it. It's like this is early, and now every comedian who comes in the door, experienced or not, selling stadiums or small clubs, says the same thing. It's the videos first, right? It's the
yeah. And so I I kind of gained a following there, and then fast forward, I end up getting on YouTube. YouTube starts to work really well for me. That kind of leads me into the world of podcasting, and all while this is all developing, you know, I'm touring podcast live, and in that way, I was kind of like still doing stand up to these crowds, and then COVID happened, and obviously that slowed things down. But then that kind of fired me up to really get back to stand up, because I did stand up for about 2 or 3 years. The timeline's always so gray. I can't remember if it's 2 or 3, but this was all before the internet stuff like kind of blew up. So then when the internet work I was doing like really took off, that really took my focus. But I always wanted to get back to stand up, and so when COVID ended, or I would say 2021, you know, because COVID never started for some people.
Right.
But so in 2021, I was like back on the road and fully doing stand up again, and so I've been just doing it for the last 4 years, and it's the thing I love above everything. It's the thing that just makes me the most excited. I love writing ideas and sharing them.
You're like, I don't know you that well, right? And
yeah, no worries.
Obviously. And I'm admittedly like have not followed your career since the beginning.
No, it's all good.
The vibe that I get is that your personality and your comedy just comes from like this instinctual place. I think there are comedians who are observant, and then they go and they write it down, and then they work it out, and then they knock it out. It's like a practice for them, right? But from observing you, it feels like this just comes from like an instinctual place, like a place that you've always had. You just naturally find humor in places.
I appreciate that, man.
It's a gift, right? But then to actually go and do it is another thing altogether.
Yeah.
Is it that feedback that feels good to you? Is it like that? I can riff on the energy that's in the room and feel that.
Yes,
feedback.
because my mother did not love me, and so it's nice to get acceptance from others. No,
join
yes,
the club.
yeah. No, I think like, and it's funny because it's evolved over time, and I think first getting back into stand up, a lot of my approach was maybe people will find this funny, or maybe people feel this way, and they're kind of like really maybe like eccentric ideas, and then. It evolved into me, I think, just trying to give a window into like how I grew up. And then from there, I think I put out a second hour called Death is FOMO. And that was like more about just like things I was seeing and things I thought were funny, just a bit more generally. And then, this set that I'm working on is like kind of a nice hybrid of the two, where I think it feels personal to me, but it's still, sort of these like, I guess instinct-based things. Because you're right. I think not much of my stand-up is sort of, I'll give you an example of like, this is, I think I would maybe put this in the vein of like Larry David. And this is something that genuinely pisses me off. There's a parking structure that is connected to like a place where me and my wife and my son will go eat and hang out.
Okay.
And you go in there and they give you the ticket, you park, and then you leave, and they charge you $1. And then after they charge you the $1, they make you keep the parking ticket. And this like fucking infuriates me. It fucking pisses me off so much. And every time, like, it just makes me irate. And I guess the only way I could like equate this in my mind, I was like, imagine like going to the red light district and you go get a hand job from a lady, and then she pulls the condom off. She's like, all right, take that with you. Congratulations. You know, and then I'm just walking around with my fucking used condom, and I'm like, oh yeah, parking structure. I'm like, fuck you, you know, but, and I think that's more like, you know, maybe traditional stand up. Like I don't want to say formula, but like that's maybe like a more traditional stand up observation.
Sure. Yeah.
And I think my natural inclination are like in my last hour, I would actually just terrorize audiences. Like we'd have a lot of fun for the first 30 minutes, and then I would come around to this part of the set where I'd be pointing at people and they're like hammered on Friday at 11:30, and I'd be going, "Are you afraid to die, man?" And then they're going, yeah, kind of.
Of course.
And I'm like, this guy's a pussy. And I would wonder why I'm bombing. But
all right.
But yeah, so I think like I have like this weird, I like inclination to I don't know, like pose questions and talk about things on stage that I think objectively are not funny.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of figuring out how you figure out the tension there, like where what I find interesting, I mean, I guess maybe about life, figuring out how to make that funny is, I think I enjoy that part. Like, I think I enjoy when the room is kind of like, ugh. And
Also laughing. Yeah.
Yes.
And there's
yeah. And I like
giggling going on. Yeah.
Yeah. And I kind of like living in that world a little bit. Yeah. So.
Yeah, Ari Shafir, we had on it. He said that going to a comedy show sometimes is like a high wire act for the audience. They don't want to sit in the middle. They don't want to sit in the front because they're afraid of who's going to point at them and say something. But I think that's why great, in my opinion, that's why live comedy is so great, because it is a high wire act and you're doing this dance. You know, it's like this balance between offending and opening minds, between observing and just shitting the bed. I mean, and it's like the comic who's really doing the high wire act, but when the audience gets involved, it can get really, really gnarly. Do you still enjoy? Do you still enjoy the video aspect of it? Do you still enjoy going out there, content creating, or? I know. I just want to admit this. Like sometimes it's a job, right? I'm jobbing, right? I'm here.
Oh yeah.
I'm doing it. It's rinse and repeat. I always find that sitting with my friend is fun, but sometimes it does feel like work.
Yeah.
How do you feel about content creating so many years later after having been online for a long time?
Yeah, I've actually, it's funny. I was reflecting on this the other day. I've been putting out just like, I guess, media since. For almost like 11 years now. So
wow.
I think the way I've tried to, I guess, like keep it fresh, and it's something that people who know me and have watched me for a while will like, they don't criticize me for it, but they always make a point to say like, Noel, you're always doing something new, and it's like almost a pain in the ass to keep up. But, and I'm not doing anything like genre bending or whatever. I just kind of like to mix it up. But sure. Yeah, I think now I finally, because when I was younger, I was really kind of, like undiagnosed and all over the place and like making way too many kinds of things. And right now, I think I'm actually the most excited about what I'm doing, because I feel for the first time in my life, credit to my son, like I actually feel like I have direction, and big credit to my wife too. She's put up with my shenanigans for a long time.
Amen to the wives.
Yeah.
Damn, dude. That's spouses, really.
Yes.
Yeah. Amen.
Big spouse guy.
Yeah.
My wife, Alina, she's been really great. Is just and instrumental in helping me kind of like zone in on things, because as a partner, she observes the things that make me feel bad and make me feel good. And she's always helpful as like a voice of reason to go like, hey, I notice of all the work you do, like this type of work seems to give you the best, and I notice you're the best when doing this, and I think you should go that direction. And she helps turn my neck, because I think sometimes when you're focused on the performance aspect of it, you're just thinking about all these kind of dumb little nuances that really don't matter, and you miss the point sometimes. So I think
isn't that the best? Isn't that the best thing in the world, to have a partner who will guide you softly, gently, sometimes firmly to your best self. And as a content creator, it's so hard to see the forest through the trees sometimes. You do get stuck. There's something wrong with the sound. It doesn't matter about the sound, but it goes on for 5 minutes and it should be 2, right? And it's like, okay, all right, got it. Or you guys are your best when you're talking about this. And my wife does this to me all the time too. And sometimes I get a little bit upset because I feel like I'm being criticized. But then if I step back for a minute, I always take a breath and I go, thank God she's here.
Oh, yeah.
To tell me, to yell in the void, like to say something in the void, and not afraid to say something. Your wife's name's Alina?
Alina, yeah. She is definitely not softball sometimes, and but I've always trusted that aspect of her like creative opinions and stuff, and I've always appreciated that about her. Is from day one. I mean, she used to sit and watch me do open mics. And when I'd bomb, I'd get off stage and I'd get in the car and I try to make myself feel better. And she'd go, I don't think anything you said made sense up there. Like she would be very, like, I get, basically being like, you should have bombed. What you just said up there was wildly stupid or like
You took a
weird.
shit on the floor, Noel.
Yeah.
It just didn't work out.
Yeah.
But we need somebody like that in our lives.
Yes.
I think. I mean,
There's nothing that feels worse than doing stand up and then getting in the car with your then girlfriend and she goes, "You embarrassed me."
Oh, jeez.
Not like that. She's not like mean like that, but like
I get
the
it.
message I'm getting is like, "Oh, you don't want to be in this car right now because I'm a moron." You know, like yeah. But it's always been from the position of like, you know, to help me get better and
To help, yeah.
yeah. She's always believed in me, always.
And you feel like that kind of that focus and that direction and your ability to play out your ideas keeps you fresh. Like hey, I want to wake up in the morning. I want to do this. I have an idea. I want to create it. I want to get it done.
Yeah, definitely. You know, not every day is like that. I wish,
Absolutely, yeah.
every
Me
day
too.
was like, pure creativity. But
Yeah.
yeah, now it's like a weirdly the most busy I've ever been, but the most motivated I've ever been. Because now I run a podcast network, and that takes a lot of just time and things to think through. And we got a pretty sizable crew. I mean, we got like 20 people that work for the company, and so splitting that with like some of the work that I'm doing on my YouTube channel does get tough at times. But I think I'm managing it super well, and obviously I'm in a lot of different places, but. Yeah, I think right now I feel the most creative I've been because I've kind of given my YouTube channel like a big overhaul. I started like a new solo podcast late last year. That's called
Which
The
is
Company
great.
Lot.
It's good. Yeah.
Oh, thanks. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Do you run
Yeah.
that podcast network like day to day? Are you the day to day operations guy? Like,
Yeah,
are you
yeah,
the
yeah.
CEO
So-
of the business. Wow. Yeah.
Essentially, yeah, like, business owner. CEO is like, I think you got to have like 150 employees for that.
No. That's the great thing about having less than 20 employees or less is that you just get to change. You get to put whatever title you want suits the particular email. So, if I'm writing someone and I'm like executive producer, CEO, manager,
Yeah.
co-host, creator. Yeah, I just change names all the time.
Assistant to Krissy.
Assistant to Krissy. That's right.
Yeah, I'm waiting to get more staff before I claim that title. Also, I don't need my employees gunning for the back of my head.
Oh,
There you
that's
go.
true. There you
JK,
go.
JK,
Yeah.
JK,
Be careful.
JK. I don't sell insurance. But yeah, so I have. I mean, within the organization, there are people that do more nuanced day-to-day work, and I'm not in the weeds on everything. But as far as like guiding where we're going, what our next steps are, like I'm definitely managing that stuff very directly. Like
That's exciting.
day to day. It is, yeah. It's very exciting. It's very challenging at times too, because there are days I wake up and I'm like, I just want to focus on like stupid observations about the world and
Right.
get high when my son goes to sleep. But
Yeah.
no such luck.
Can I ask you a question while you're talking about getting high?
Mm-hmm.
I saw one of your videos, and there was a guy on, and I wish I could remember his name. He talked about taking a 2,000 milligram edible. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Oh, my God,
He was
Tyler
like
Walsh.
bass fishing. Tyler Walsh, that's it. He talked about taking a 2,000 milligram edible.
I like my 5 grams.
yeah,
Yeah.
I go for 10, 15, maybe 20. Like, that's insanity.
You should talk to my buddy Tyler. He is one of the most interesting guys I've ever met.
Tell him to call me. I'll have him on the show. I want to talk to him about that. That's insane.
100%. I don't want to tell his story because he's like a super interesting guy, but he grew up in like rural Iowa, and he got into like rodeo clowning, and then that led him and that led him
It's
to
a whole story, yeah.
Wow.
stand up. Yeah, and he's a very physically imposing guy when he needs to be. Like he's a big sweetheart, but when I met him, I think he was like 6'3", I don't know, 280, just big boy. God. And he is that classic American build. He is built different. That guy can do 2,000 milligram edibles. Like he could take an entire pack of joints and probably take them to the face. And
Wow.
You
Some people
just
can
do
do
it.
that.
Yeah,
he jokes
do
that he has the
tolerance.
the mental specialness, we'll put it that way, to participate in one of those competitions where you leave your hand on a car. He's like, I think I have the required focus to do that and win the car. So yeah, but yeah, he's such a interesting dude. A guy who like I don't know. He just feels like he's always been in these really quirky life scenarios, and he's just observing, and he's just there for the ride. And I always take inspiration from that.
We always know, we have a friend like this too. He's like the Forrest Gump of our friends, right? He finds himself in the craziest situations, high on the most incredible amounts of narcotics. And he's always standing straight up for some reason. And he finds a friend in any situation. This guy could be dropped in the middle of the Ukrainian war. And I think that he would find the shrooms and the weed, and there'd be a drum circle going on by the end of it. He's just that guy. I don't know I don't know how to explain it any better. He's got a different view on life, and he pulls everybody into it. And then, but his tolerance is incredible. I mean, it's incredible. The amount of...
Not me.
No, not me either. No. I drink a beer and a 5 milligram, and I will go. I want to be at home, cuddled up, watching some TLC show about polyamory or some shit like that.
You trying to sell your wife on it?
Yeah. Well, listen.
Kidding.
Polyamory is French for my marriage is failing. Just saying.
That's good.
Just saying.
Good.
It's that's a tough one. Listen, it's not that we know people who have been in open marriages and like seriously done the do. So they dating other people, screwing other people, but inevitably, humanity is humanity, and your ability to overlook the fact that someone else is pounding your significant other, there's something about that. It twitches the back of your, I don't know. It's just something. There's like a little trigger in the back of your head, and it goes crazy at some point.
Makes you want to watch.
Yeah. Cucking is a whole different animal. I think those people are also built differently. They also have weird mental fortitude. You know what I'm saying?
Each to their own.
Yeah, for sure. So what do you do when you go out on tour? How is the wife and the kid? I mean, how's that part of it?
It's good. Sorry, I'm just getting a text now that I guess someone hit our garage.
Oh.
Someone hit your garage with a car?
Yeah, let's see what the damage
No,
is.
if you need to go, we can call you back and wrap this up another time.
Yeah. Wait, just give me like 2 minutes.
Take your time.
That's fine.
Take
I'm
your
gonna
time.
beat him up. I'll be right back.
Yeah.
Okay, sounds good. Well, in all the different ways people have gotten out of interviews with the commercial break, I'll have to say that wasn't original.
That was.
No shit.
Spontaneously.
I did notice right toward the end of the interview, that Noel's focus just went completely away.
Did.
Noel, if you watch this on video, Noel was completely attentive during the entirety of the 30 minutes that we were talking to him. And then for like the last minute, he got like super unfocused, and I thought for a second, this is
CEO stuff.
Yeah, I thought.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, I thought. Yeah,
He's managing
okay.
all his stuff.
He's managing all his stuff, or I thought, okay, this is a sign that maybe we need to move on from this particular part of the conversation. You can tell when someone gets a little disinterested, but that was not it at all. He actually was looking at his phone, and he just interrupted the conversation and was like, "Guys, someone just hit my garage, I think." So if you are listening, then you heard most of it. But okay, so we'll get back to Noel Miller a different time. Hopefully, he'll agree to come back on and do a few more minutes with us. But I really enjoyed my conversation with him. And he can be found at noelmillerlive.com. You can go and check all the dates out that he's going to be. He's going to be here in Atlanta on the 22nd of November, Krissy. Maybe we'll go see him. Center Stage Theater, which is not a typical comedy joint. It's a little bit bigger than most comedy places, smaller than like State Farm or something like that. But that would be a good place to see live comedy, I think. That's a round table kind of room. I would enjoy that. And go check out I'll put links in the show notes. There's too much content to name here. I'll go put links in the show notes. Tiny Meat Gang, he's got his own channels on YouTube. Tiny Meat Gang's still around and doing it. And some of the interviews that he has are just fascinating. Like we were talking about before we got interrupted. Somebody had a 2,000 milligram gummy, and that story is really funny. I will not tell it here. Hopefully we'll get that guy on the show. But what else is there to say? His garage got hit by a car. What are you going to do when your house gets damaged? And you're a house owner, you get very nervous.
And you've got a baby and a wife saying, "Hey, can you come take care of this? Help."
Yeah, I think if we don't have a garage, but if we had a garage or if the house was hit by a car,
Yeah.
it would be grounds for immediate dismissal of any episode of the commercial break, no matter who was on. And while you're here with the esteemed commercial break, I do understand the interruption, and I certainly accept that he had to go at that moment. There was no other choice, nothing else to do. Noel had to go take care of his baby, 6 months old. He's in the thick of it. He's handling it pretty well. Like he seems to be pretty zen about the whole thing. But when I had my first at 6 months old, it was absolutely nerve-wrackingly chaotic. And I had no idea just how much more chaotic it could get.
Just with one.
I know. And then by the time the third, and he was saying like, I get nervous about like touching the garbage can and then touching my kid and all that. By the third one, they're eating dog shit, and you're like, put that down, and then put it in the trash while you're at it. You're like, can you clean that up and put it in the trash while you're at it?
By the third.
Yeah, you get it. You understand. You're like, okay, that's it.
And now you're on your 15th.
And now I'm on my 15th, so I really don't care.
Yeah.
The 15th gets no attention. That poor 15th gets no attention. Speaking of, real quick, since we have a few extra minutes here, you and I had both watched that first episode. Maybe now the second episode is out. That Polly family on TLC.
I know. Well, it popped up, and I was like, I might as well go ahead and start watching it because Brian's gonna watch it.
Yeah. TLC never fails to amaze me. Mm-hmm. A year ago, some listeners will remember that we reviewed a very small, brief video that was put out by a poly family, unlike most poly families that have children involved. Like, it's two couples that are married and they're living together and they have children from each marriage, have brought it in, 2 children from one of the marriages, brought them into the household, and now they live as one very weird Brady Bunch-like situation. But the spouses aren't dead. They're very much alive and they're living with them and screwing them and all this other stuff. It's a really strange setup. I got to be honest about it. I mean, I don't want to cast judgment.
No. It's not for us. We've talked about it.
Yeah, it's not for us.
But do we enjoy watching other people?
Absolutely.
Crash into the poly family?
Am I into poly porn? Yes, I am. And I don't mean porn like pornographic. I mean like watching, getting an insight into what it's like to live this lifestyle is really already fascinating just one episode in, because it's clear it's not working out.
Yeah.
They are having trouble. The husbands are bickering at each other. They don't like each other one bit. One husband is having better sex or more sex than the other with the one wife, and the other one's having more sex with the other wife.
There's a baby involved, but they don't even know who the dad is.
They don't want to know who the dad is.
Yeah, and things get interesting. It looks like later in the season, I saw something about the one who just had the baby now likes a girl outside of their closed.
Oh, really? So there's a fifth coming into the mix, or she's asking, or she wants, or she has.
It looks like there's interest.
Unbelievable. This is not the way to live, in my opinion. It is hard enough to have one fucking spouse. It is difficult to navigate the intricacies of human relationships. It really is. Anybody who's been in one, which is everybody, knows that sometimes other human beings around you are just kind of shit. It's like a shitty situation. Like you're in a bad mood, they're in a bad mood. Everyone's, we're having less sex now, we're having more sex then. It's like this whole diddly dance you do. And to walk that high wire takes a lot of patience and love and care and concern, none of which I have a whole bunch of. And then you put in yet another one and her husband. Fuck that, dude. Fuck that. You and Jeff were living here, I'd be like, no. One of you's got to go or both of you got to go. That's it. Can you imagine?
I'm laughing about Jeff living here.
Jeff would not live here. Jeff wouldn't live here. I'm sorry. I know Jeff had children, but
loves everyone in this house.
I know he does. I'm not, and listen, I'm not casting dispersions on Jeff, but if I was Jeff at Jeff's age, and my 2 girls had already flew the coop and long since been out of diapers and toys and all that, and already been through puberty and dating and first kisses and all that shit, I would be like, thank God that part of my life is behind me. And now everything in my life has a place. I went over to Krissy's house the other day before the Pearl Jam concert, as we discussed, and the records were organized categorically.
Yes. Alphabetically.
Alphabetically. In the categories.
Yes,
alphabetically.
Yes, alphabetically.
I have records, and they are in beds. They are in closets. They are in refrigerators. I think there's one of my Pearl Jam records is in the freezer right now. Those kids have destroyed everything. But there is a certain amount of acceptance that comes with that the chaos is coming along with it, and that's just the way it fucking is, and you're going to have to deal with it for now. But I live on the hope and the dream that someday I get over that hump and everything calms the fuck down. Until then, I just throw my hands in the air.
Yeah, you're just part of the process.
Yes. You know what I try and keep neat, Krissy? This 5 square feet of the house.
Yes.
This 5 square feet. The 5 square feet with the microphones. You're doing a good job. Thank you very much.
Doing the best you can.
I am always doing the best I can, but I believe that's most people. Most people are doing the best they can with the information they have at the time. And if you're not, you're just a shithead. So anyway, all right, well, here's to Noel Miller in his garage.
I can't wait for the follow-up. Because I really would like to know what happened.
I hope we get the follow-up.
Yeah.
I think we will. I think Noel will be back, and hopefully it doesn't take too long. That was weird, but life happens. You know, what are you going to do?
People drive into your garage.
Roll with the punches. People do drive into garages. I have driven into a garage. Mm-hmm. I have built houses where contractors have driven into the garage. And when it happens, it's a big nightmare because the garage is a complicated piece of machinery that hasn't evolved in 200 fucking years. It's the same thing. Track, door, motor, things hanging down from the roof of your garage. It's a whole complicated endeavor, and there's only one thing you can do. Call the garage guy and get a new garage door. It's not like when you run into a garage door, you can just fix it.
Garage door business.
That must be a good business.
You know, I bet it is.
Yeah, because you don't fix a broken garage door.
No.
You get a new one, unless it's the motor and you got to replace the motor. But if you bend a piece of the garage, like the actual door, you're getting a new garage. That's it. A new garage. Garage and roofs. And if I have another roof guy stop by my fucking house to tell me I can get a new roof for no money, it's like door-to-door vacuum sales cleaners. The 2025 version of that are the roof guys who promise you they can get you a new roof through your insurance company. Fuck you. I'm eating. Don't come to my front door. Who knocks on a front door anymore? And then one guy stood there for like 10 minutes. Swear to God he did.
Really?
Kept ringing the doorbell. He knew someone was in there. And you know my kids, the second they hear the doorbell, they all go running to the door. They don't open it. They just want to see what's out there. So we can't hide. Sometimes we scream at the kids when someone knocks on the door. Stop what you're doing. Don't go anywhere. All right. All the links to Noel's information is in the show notes. Go check him out. I'm sure you already have. He's got so many followers. You probably know who this guy is. But really funny, really nice. And we'll follow up with him just as soon as we can. 212-433-3TCB. 212-433-3822. Questions, comments, concerns, content ideas. If you're listening to us on Apple, do us a favor. Go and rate us at The Commercial Break on Instagram. YouTube.com/The Commercial Break for all the episodes soon as they air here on the audio feed. Okay, Krissy, that's all I can do for today.
I think so.
Tell you that I love you.
I love you.
Best to you.
Best to
and
you.
best to you out there in the podcast universe. Until next time, Krissy and I will say, we do say, and we must say, goodbye.